Welcome to the Meditation Podcast. You can find all our episodes on meditationpodcast.org. We're also on BitChute and YouTube. You'll find the links to the podcast description. I've got 4 other podcasts, as well as being a podcast coach. You'll find everything on bio.link/podcaster. My guest today, certified meditation teacher and mindfulness seeker, Jillian Zbleski. I should do it better being in Poland.
No, you did pretty good. Zbleski, yes.
Okay, so Jillian, you might let the listeners know a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, well, I am currently living in Savannah, Georgia, originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and did a whole bunch of traveling around the states in between there. I started off right out of high school with the house and the good job and the partner and the whole shebang, everything you're supposed to have, checking all the boxes of society's checklist, so to speak. But at some point I realized I wanted more than that. I wanted to see what was out there, what was possible, get out of my comfort zone. So it took a lot of internal struggle to give myself permission to do that, to leave the life I had known, the people who had raised me and helped me, but I wasn't ready for that to be the rest of my life. So when I made that decision, it was hard, definitely, but it was also the best decision I ever made, because it allowed me to travel and explore and experience and just have, live the life and see what's out there, rather than just accepting the status quo and going with that. So I definitely am glad I made that decision.
Well, excellent. So I know that you kind of struggled with meditation. So I like to see that, because some people, they say, oh, I can't meditate. I've tried it once or whatever. So it's interesting. I'd love to hear your kind of journey, how you overcame that.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely got into meditation against my will. I was not a fan. I didn't think there was any way I could sit down and sit still and be quiet. I was such a mover and a doer and a thinker, and that seemed impossible to me. But I was participating in another program at the time, just a personal growth kind of a thing. So meditation naturally was part of that, but I was unaware of it. But I had committed to this program, so I was going to do all the steps, at least try them. So I started the meditation. I began with the app Headspace, which is great for beginners. And I literally started with 3 minutes at a time. And after those 3 minutes, I was so glad it was over, but I was also so glad I did it. And I gradually increased. I was doing 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. And then I couldn't get enough. I was like, this quiet, this calm, this slowing down, this works for me. This is, especially when I could start to see the benefits of it in the rest of my life. I mean, other than the just, 15 minutes you're sitting there, when you're out living your life in your day and something comes up and you don't necessarily react the way you used to. You're able to remain calm, at ease, and respond more calmly and aware. So once I started seeing those benefits, it was like, okay, this is it. I need to do more of this. So that is when I began to actually learn about it through the Chopra Center. I took their primordial sound meditation program, which is mantra based. So that was a whole other level for me, which I definitely am glad I delved into that.
And because I know that you've overcome a few like anxiety and depression, eating disorders. Was that something that happened prior and you found that going through this journey it's helped, or what's your journey with the different things that you've experienced?
I definitely attribute the letting go of the anxiety to meditation that 100% helped with that. And again, it wasn't necessarily an intentional thing like I'm going to meditate to resolve my anxiety. It was just a byfactor of what happened, one of the many benefits of meditating. So it also gave me, just more of an awareness and a presence to deal with anything and everything. And then with the depression, in the meditation also brought me to gratitude, which is an amazing practice. Just being grateful, it's a game changer, no matter, because I used to be a skeptic, cynical, sarcastic, negative, pessimist. If it was raining, you didn't want to be around me because, that cloud would follow me everywhere. But once I discovered gratitude and just appreciating what you have, and that opened up so much more for me. Like, nothing outside me changed. My perspective changed and everything became better and brighter, and then opened up more opportunities for me.
I think, in life, say if you're looking at, say, 5G or chemtrails or anything that annoys you, it's grand you would become aware of it, but you don't want to take it that becomes your life. It's like, do you look at the trees? Are you watching the butterflies? Are you look, because then you start paying attention to the beautiful things, which in turn puts you in a better mood instead of things that are annoying you. And it's not that you just kind of turn off the lights and you just don't look and become aware, but I think just being grateful of different things, it just puts you, it lifts your spirits.
Absolutely. It's taking yourself off the autopilot, and then, making your own choices of what you want to look at and what you want to focus on. And yeah, the world, might not be the best place to be in right now, but you can shift your focus and make it better for yourself.
And, you mentioned like the benefits, even, in emotions and everything with meditation. And I've been doing it for a while now, and just being in control and just calm, and I'd rarely kind of snap anyway. In construction in Ireland, people wouldn't realize it, but then when somebody's kind of abusive, then they'd say they wouldn't see that kind of side to me. But like recently, I had a lot of problems with my car, which basically the back wheel was locking up, and it wasn't that the problem with the car, but it was the fact that I brought it in, they fixed something, then they came up, and it was dangerous because, and my son said to me, I can see you're very angry, but what I loved is I wasn't taking it out on him. I was still in fantastic.
Right.
Whereas most people, and I know that the old version of me would be just angry years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that I was just disappointed with the mechanic and the car, but still had beautiful, loving relationship with my child and wasn't taking my emotion out on him. I know that's thanks to meditation.
Absolutely. You had that awareness. And I love what you said about your past self would have been, raging. And that's one thing for me when I can recognize something like that, like, oh, I would have reacted differently before, but now, I'm able to handle this situation much better. So that's another time when I'm able to, recognize and appreciate and be grateful for my meditation practice and where it's taken me.
And with the certification, what exactly did that entail? What was the covering in that?
Yes. So that's an interesting story. I just kind of stumbled upon. So this all occurred during COVID. It was the first time that the Chopra Center was offering this course online. So I was able to, have access to that. So the program was set in two different portions. There's the personal enrichment course and then the teacher training certification. So I just meant to take the enrichment for myself, and it was so powerful. I was like, I might as well keep going and learn how to share this with other people because it's doing, so well for me. And again, I'm the skeptic. Like, I'm the one who doesn't believe, in the magic pill. Like, I have to see it for myself. So through my own experience and the changes and benefits I saw, I was like, okay, I can be on board with this. So I took the full course, got certified. And so the unique part of the primordial sound meditation is you get your own personal mantra. So there's 107 different mantras that were created by the universe. They're vibrations. So they're based on nature. And so, in order to find your personal mantra, we take the date, time, and location of your birth. And then there's some magical system that someone developed that plugs all the info in and spits out the mantra. And then you use this mantra to go deeper into your meditation. It's a tool, it's a vehicle to get you more into the practice and kind of help you. Whereas if you're just sitting there silent, obviously your thoughts wander, and I mean that's part of meditation and always will be. But when you have that mantra, you have something to come back to kind of focus and get you back into it when your thoughts are trying to take you out of it. So I found that
I think the
very, very
frequency
helpful.
with the vibration as well with the mantra kind of helps in the cell process deep down, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And is it just mantra based? Because just through somebody that I know that was into Krishna, they were doing the Krishna thing. They had the beads, and I remember there's like 100 because they gave me one. I was just saying it was a nice gift, like, but it was like 108 beads. I just remember that because it's kind of like a Rain Man thing in my in me.
Yes.
So is it a Krishna thing, or is it just that seems to be the kind of mantra internationally kind of
I
thing?
think it's similar, but not connected. I think all of it's very similar. There's transcendental mantra meditation. So there's different varieties and variations. And again, the reason I think meditation works so well for me is because and how it works for everyone is you kind of have to make it your own practice. I mean, there's not a lot of rigid rules, which I thought there was going into it. I was like, I have to sit in a pretzel shape. I'm going to be uncomfortable. I can't itch my nose. Like, this is going to be a nightmare. But that's not what it's about. It's just about slowing down, settling down, being comfortable, and then going inward. So once you take the, rigidity and the seriousness out of it, and you kind of just like settle in and make it your own, then it becomes your practice and how you want it and how it fits. You have to fit it into your lifestyle. If you have all these rules around, I can only do it before the sun comes up and this and this and that, like, then you're never going to do it. But if you're like, I'm just going to do it every day, however I can, then, you can fit that in. It's doable.
I think you take the joy out of it when you're being regimental. And a
Oh,
lot of people
yeah.
are like that, and they think they're in a meditative
Yeah.
state, but you know that they're not, because they're getting flustered because something
Yes.
has ruined their rhythm, that they can't do their 1 hour or 2 hour of whatever it be.
Yeah, exactly. I used to think it was like a punishment, like you just have to sit in the corner and be quiet. But no, that's not the case.
Yeah, I love what you said, that you find your own thing, because that's the kind of the way that I done. I got into it first. I found the same. I was like, it took me a while to kind of get into meditation. It was a guided meditation, and it was kind of gratefulness, forgiveness, that kind of thing, what your thoughts. And then I found like that was 20 odd minutes. I was thinking, this is taking a bit too much, and he's talking about things. So then I done my own, and now I just kind of, it's like, just prior to call there, I saw the sun is out, just sat outside for 5 minutes, I just sat there and just silence, and just things like that you just become present instead of reaching for these things, like, that you think that's the savior in life. It's like you just be present. And I think the most important thing, I probably, you kind of touched on as well, is like how time, like people say, I don't have time for meditation, but when you're calm and when you're focused, time slows down and you get 10 times more than anyone else. So the people that think they have no time, they're the ones that actually, it's needed. It's ideal for them.
Exactly. Oh, I agree with you so much. But you can't tell them that. Nobody, you can't hear it until you're ready. So you just have to, I try to lead by example, and hopefully, someone's like, hey, why are you so calm? Why are you in such a good mood? And I'm like, meditation. You should try it.
Yeah. And have you done much on breath work?
I actually struggle with breath work. I I don't know. I haven't quite figured that one out. I mean, I do enjoy, stopping, slowing down, pausing, taking a good deep breath, inhale, exhale. But I mean, there's so many different kinds and types, and they're all good for something. And I haven't mastered that yet. So maybe that's something I'll get into in the future. But for now, it's just, a good inhale, exhale, deep breaths to kind of slow down,
I mean
reset.
that's breath work, because most people don't do that. They just kind of
That's
like,
right. I mean, I don't know how we breathe daily. Like we forget about it, but we're doing it. But yeah, just the pause, like it just kind of shifts everything, and it stops like the chaos for a moment. It may not change the chaos, but it'll just, give you a little time to readjust.
yeah, I tell a lot of people, because loads of people want to give up smoking and they say, oh, I can't, I feel different. And I tell them, just pretend you have the fag and do the same thing, because what you're actually doing is breath work while you're having the fag, and you're
Yeah,
putting that
it's taking
relaxation
that
down to the
break.
cigarette, but it's actually the breath that's doing it, because you never go, you never do that normally. So if you can
Yeah.
actually, if you want to give up smoking, put away the fag and just do the same thing, mimic, get a plastic thing, even if get a pen, take out the ink and just use it as and you will feel the
Mhm.
same relaxation, and you don't have the nicotine or the tar or whatever other toxins that's in it.
Yeah, no, I'm a former smoker myself, actually. And after I started meditating, I was able to quit, no problem. And I don't miss it at all because I'm still taking the break. I'm taking the pause. Because smoking's like an escape. It gets
Exactly.
you out of the situation you're in, where I don't need to escape, but I can be present and aware and pause and realize what's actually going on, and not just need to get out because that's what I was doing before.
Excellent. And I know you kind of dabble in yoga. What's your kind of yoga journey?
So that's kind of something I started that was slightly forced upon me. I started that during COVID when my gym closed, and I was like, oh, okay, what am I going to do now? So I turned to, the ever popular YouTube, and just started watching some yoga videos, and, for beginners, and learning from there. So I was doing it, in the privacy of my own home, at my own pace, in on my time. It wasn't like I was, again, going to a strict class, being forced into stuff. It was something I kind of explored, and was in it. The way it made me feel, again, is what kept me going, because I was energized, and it was something I'd never done before. I was more of a bigger, faster, stronger, like go, go, go. But the yoga, again, is the slowing down, it's the intentional, it's being aware of the movement, and just really feeling it and experiencing it, instead of being like, okay, I have 30 minutes at the gym, let's get it over with. It was I'm here, and I'm going to be here. And it just, it made me feel so much better than my previous workout routine. So when my gym reopened, I just kept on doing what I was doing with the yoga.
No, excellent. And I mean, just the strangeness of the one thing that's good for you is your health, and they're closing down gyms. Like, I mean, I know they were doing that
Yeah.
internationally, or else making them put a mask on their face, and which is also dangerous. But yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
yeah, people have kind of realized that now. So I know you touch about I can't even pronounce it. Ayurveda doshas.
Oh, so yes, Ayurveda is sister science with yoga. It's more the health aspect of it. It's the science of nature and life. And um, there's so much great insight and wisdom and information in there. It's just hard to apply to our modern day lives, and society, and the way of the world now. But it's simpler, it's natural, it's holistic. And if you like, the concepts in there are like, if you can manage to apply them to our you know plastic lifestyle that we have today, it's really great to bring in to it. I mean, again, it's a challenge, but I think it's worth it to explore the principles. And with the doshas, so basically there's 3 different doshas, vata, pitta, kapha, and that kind of categorizes us as humans into, our lifestyle, our personality, our body type, our health, and what's best for us. So that's why, people have different dietary needs, and some people are night owls, some people are early birds, and just what works best for you, learning about circadian rhythms. And it's just kind of getting back to your natural state and what you and your body need and what works best for you. So it's very, very interesting, but it's a lot.
Is it something that you're kind of touching into your intuition, or can you go to a practitioner? Because I've heard that the food that you eat, because sometimes people are vegetarian when they shouldn't be, because they get
Yes.
very ill because of it, and vice versa. And so is a practitioner able to kind of determine that, or do you have to do it yourself to kind of touch with your inner self, I suppose?
Well, there's a few different levels of practitioners. Like there's the basic dosha test where you can figure out your dosha, and that's kind of more of a general assessment, which can be very helpful. But there's also, I think, the most reliable kind of diagnosis is either a pulse test, which has to be done by a trained practitioner, or I think there's a tongue test. They read your tongue somehow, which I'm not qualified to do any of that. But those are the most specific kinds of diagnosis as far as I'm aware. But I've just done the dosha testing, and once you learn the basics, you can kind of see who's what dosha, and it's very interesting. But again, exactly like you said about someone maybe eating the wrong diet, because it's all the rage, or, everybody's going vegan. But it's even about, like, some people should be eating cooked vegetables where others should be eating raw vegetables. And it's all about your digestion and how you kind of metabolize things. And it's also the way you process emotions and feelings. So it's the whole blueprint of life. So it's very interesting, worth checking out.
And when you think of kind of like the body, kind of reflexology in the feet, I know you mentioned the tongue. I remember going to one practitioner here, and they were able to do the retina, and they could determine exactly what's wrong with you just by looking at the retina. And it's fascinating that they can see, and they hit the nail on the head when they really know what they're doing. They can go,
Yes.
oh, your problem is your liver, or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, you need to do a liver cleanse or parasite cleanse, whatever it be. And I find that fascinating. The body's actually telling us,
Yeah, it's absolutely telling us. We just have to listen and pay attention. And that's with Ayurveda as well. There's all these natural healing modes, or, symptoms that lead to something. So it's all there for you, but we just have to listen and pay attention, and then, not ignore it, and not, just keep pushing ourselves like we tend to do.
No, exactly. And I know you've got a podcast yourself, the Nonlinear podcast, I believe.
Nonlinear, correct. My co-host is from Ireland. She's very Irish,
Hey.
and so yeah, this is fitting right in. Yeah, it's just her and I just having a conversation, very candid, no script, just about what's coming up for us, what kind of challenges we're having, what we're learning, what we're struggling with. So it's very just kind of real.
No, and how do you find co-hosting? Because I do one with the co-host, but it's the Polish podcast. But I know that people have different struggles as well as benefits. So you might just kind of what kind of tips you could give for people that are thinking of maybe co-hosting.
It's definitely different than the one-on-one. It has its benefits and its challenges. With her and I, she's definitely more of the dominant kind of voice, and I kind of chime in with my, wit and charm and sarcasm and humor. So we kind of have that dynamic with us, which works. So I think if you're going to co-host, you need to have a certain dynamic. Like you can't both be the leader, or you have to take turns, or you have to know when to follow, or something like that. As long as you have a strategy, or you have the chemistry, the charisma to naturally kind of flow with it, then it'll work. But if it's two big egos going at it, that's not going to work. Or two people kind of holding back, that's not going to work. You need the flow, the give and take.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. I'm just curious which platform you use, because I mean I use both Anchor, Spotify, and Podbean, and I hear loads of different ones, and I like to hear which ones and pros and cons of the platform as well.
Yeah, we use Anchor. It took us a while to figure it out, but we're pretty happy with it now. And then I think we are also on Spotify.
Yeah. That's why I was going to move some of them, but I like, because you can put up the video now on Spotify. It's kind of like the Joe Rogan style, and people are kind of getting that. Plus, I think, could be wrong, but I think you have a competitive advantage because they're so big. So if you're on that platform, maybe, but who knows? Like,
yeah, there's so much out there.
And so, what's the journey? What's kind of the main thing next in the mindfulness sphere?
Well, I'm in a bit of a transition in my career. At 40 years old now, I've finally decided to stop and figure out what I want to do when I grow up. So I've been working with a career coach to kind of figure that out, because I'm doing the meditation thing. It is much more of a personal practice than a career, but it is an offering of mine. So I'm working to shift into writing. That's something I want to pursue. I'm currently writing for a local publication, the Savanian, and I just launched an advice column on there. It's called Take It or Leave It. So I'm very excited about that. Readers submit questions, and then I just offer my life experience advice on the topic at hand. So I enjoy that, inspiring others with a little entertaining in there as well. So that's what I'm currently working on and excited about.
Excellent. And just finally, with the social media, I love to ask people, because I think we're all overwhelmed. I don't know anybody that loves social media, but I always like to know, what kind of do you feel serves you well? What gets you out there? What's the best that you'd recommend?
That's a tough question, because I have a little bit of a negative view of social media, because I see so many people abuse it, or it abuse them, or it's a black hole. But it does have its purposes, its advantages, its benefits. So currently I mostly am just on Instagram, because I feel that's a little more, I'm more in control on that, of what I see and what I'm exposed to. But yeah, I think as long as you're aware of what it can be and what you want it to be, you have to set your boundaries and expectations and just navigate it, rather than just getting sucked in, because it's a tricky balance there with social media. But again, it's the way of the world, and if you want to be out there, you kind of have to embrace it. That's what I'm learning right now, is to embrace it for what it is, what it can do, instead of resisting it altogether. I'm just have to go with it, give it a chance. So
I think that's kind of the better way, is finding which one serves you, which you feel more comfortable with, because there's some people, they think they have to be on everything, the Snapchat, the TikTok, the 50 things, and you can't do that in life, because you're not really present on any of them. Because if you are, it means you've no life. You can't be actually really doing something that's going to serve you, because you're serving others, or you're engaging. Whereas when you do one or two, you can do that as well as a few other things.
Right. You have to use it as a tool for you, not let it use you. And I know so many people that their life is on social media, that they don't have their own life, or their real life is not what is portrayed on social media. So you have to always go into it with, a grain of salt. Like, there's filters. This may not be real. I try to be as real as possible on there because I never want to false advertise. What you see is what you get. I want to be as authentic as I can be, because I would never want someone to be like, that's not what I thought, or that's not what that looked like. So, you got to embrace it all, the good, bad, the ugly, and the hard.
No, I totally agree. I think once you're who you say you are, because what happens is once, there's so many people have fake, or they're making it look like we're the happy couple. And when you meet them, you go, they hate each other. But when you look at it on Facebook, you kind of wish to have a relationship like them.
Yes.
And there is a high percentage of people doing that. But I'm not sure what I'm finding is, obviously a lot of people have serious problems with the technology. They can't put down the phone, but I can.
Yeah.
And I think it's down to mindfulness meditation that I can just say, I don't have notifications on, which I encourage everybody to do, but I can actually put my phone in another room, or I won't be checking it last thing at night or first thing in the morning. And by just not letting it be in control, I'm in control.
Yes.
I spend like probably half, if not 25% of what most people look at. And yet I still, I'm able to interact.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, we need the thing. But yeah, if you can, keep it down to a minimum, and again, use it for what you need to, when you need to, and not depend on it. Because I'd rather have a life that I enjoy, a life that looks good to me, rather than a life that looks good on social media.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Listen, Jillian, thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. You might let people know how they can get in contact with you.
Well, so speaking of social media, I am on Instagram at rabid.whole, rabid.whole, and then also at thesavannian.com, which is a subscription-based publication, but there's some great writing pieces in there.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure I put the links both on the audio and the video. Thank you very much, Jillian.
Thank you.
So that's all for the meditation podcast. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, and make sure you go into Jillian's podcast as well and do the same, because it all helps. More people get to see it when you give them a rating. And you'll find everything about my other podcasts as well as the coaching via that link /podcaster. Until next week, take care.